What if I told you there is a one-liner piece of Python code that can make your code faster, cleaner, and just cooler to work with? What I'm going to show you in this tutorial is how to use the Python list comprehension. Now, the Python list comprehension is a concise way of being able to create a new Python list. It offers a short syntax that allows you to be able to create a new Python list off of the data of an existing Python list. But let's not waste any more time discussing the matter here. Let's dive into the tutorial so you can get hands-on practice with Python list comprehension. So list comprehension is a concise way to create lists in Python, and it offers a shorter syntax when you want to create a new list based on values of an existing list or iterator. So right here we have my list that is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if we want to create a new list, so here we're creating a new list, we can loop through my list and say for num in my list, we want our new list to append that num. So just to start off, this is how you do it without using list comprehension. And here we can see that our new list is going to have the exact same values of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, a new way that we can do this is by using a list comprehension. And the way you do that is expression for item in iterable if condition. So this is how you create a list comprehension in Python. You have an expression for the item in the iterable if condition. So a new way that we could just recreate this new list and make this a super easy way of being able to do this in Python is we could just say new list equals, and now we can just say num for num in my list. So now if we go ahead and just print new list, we can see that we're going to get the exact same data of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if we look through this, we can see that the expression is just the number itself. So we're saying we want to just capture the num for the num. So just the exact same value for the value in my list. So this is how you do a list comprehension. And now we're really just being able to simplify all of this in just one line. Now, what's nice about list comprehension is you can change the expression. So right now we're just saying num for num in my list. We can go ahead and say num times num. So we're just going to multiply it against itself when we add it to the new list. So now we're going to get 1, 4, 9, 16, and 25. And we can go ahead and do other things too. So we can say like num times 3. So that's going to change the expression for each number in that list. And then we can also go ahead and add conditional statements. So right here, we can see that we're not using the if conditional yet, and we can go ahead and add that pretty easily within our application. So what we can do here is say num for num in my list if num modulus 2 is equal to 0. So a modulus just means like the leftover after doing a division problem. So this will return all even numbers from my list, and we're going to return that expression back to new list. So if we go ahead and save this and we check and see what's inside, we can see that we're only going to get 2 and 4 because 1, 3, and 5 are not even numbers. If we change this to not equal to 0, this will get the odd numbers. So we can just run this again and we can see that we now will have 1, 3, 5 in our new list. And we can do more than just numbers. So what we can say here is we can just go ahead and delete all of this. And we can say we want to return even as our expression if n modulus 2 is equal to 0, so if it's even, else odd for n in my list. So now if we go ahead and run this application, we can see that instead of getting the numbers, we're going to get odd, even, odd, because that is whether the number itself is an even or odd number. All right, so now let's go ahead and just delete all of this and deal with characters and strings within a list comprehension. So we can add words to the new list if it has more than 2 characters. So let's go ahead and just create a new list of words, which is equal to A, BE, cat, dog, elephant. And then let's go ahead and say long words equals word for word in words if the length of word is greater than 2. So we're checking to see if it has more than 2 characters, and then we just want to print the long word. All right, now if we run the application, we can see that we're going to get cat, dog, and elephant. And the first 2 indexes of A and BE will not make it to the long words list, and that is because they are not longer than 2 characters. Now let's go ahead and change some of these information, and let's go ahead and change this to apple, banana, and cherry. And here, let's go ahead and just call this capitalized words equals our word.capitalize. So that's going to be our expression for our word in words. And then we just want to print our capitalized words. And now we can see that all of the words inside our words, which has all lowercase, is now all capitalized. All right, now let's look at another example dealing with list comprehension that deals with a matrix. So we're going to flatten 2-dimensional lists into one list. So let's go ahead and say we have a matrix that is equal to a list. And then inside this, we're going to have nested lists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9. If we want to flatten this, we can create a new variable of flatten, which is equal to our num as our expression for row in matrix for num in row. And now let's go ahead and just print our flatten. If we go ahead and run this, we can see that we have now flattened that entire matrix of nested lists into a single list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now I'm going to have one more example of how to compute a single new list from 2 lists. So let's go ahead and say we have list 1 that is equal to 1, 2, 3. And we have list 2 that is equal to 4, 5, 6. Well, if we want to go ahead and compute a single new list from these 2 lists, we can go ahead and just say result equals A times B for A, comma B in our zip. So zip is a functionality to zip 2 lists together, where inside here we can say list 1 and list 2. So now if we go ahead and just print our result, and we save and run this application, we can see that we zipped them together to get the output of 4, 10, and 18, which is going to be literally 1 times 4, 2 times 5, and 3 times 6. So this is just another expression on how you can use list comprehension to combine and create a new list based on previous lists. Now, list comprehension is a pretty intermediate way of dealing with lists in Python, and I hope you were able to learn and get value from this video, and I'll see you in the next.